Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Griffin here and I hope you're all having a great day as always. Now in today's video, I wanted to cover and speak about a new exchange traded fund offered by Horizons Investments that a couple of viewers brought to my attention and wanted me to comment on. So I did some further research, actually ended up buying into the fund myself, and I wanted to share my thoughts about this new and exciting fund in today's video. The ETF in question is called the Horizons Psychedelics Index ETF, ticker symbol PSYK, pronounced I suppose PSYK for psychedelics, and this is a fund that trades on the NEO exchange in Canadian markets. Now, since this is a fund that trades on the NEO exchange, you can purchase shares of this ETF with basically any brokerage account that supports stocks that trade on this exchange, such as, for example, Wealthsimple Trade or Questrade. Make sure to check out the links down in the description if you're a new investor and you're looking to open up a first brokerage account to start investing. And if you use the links down below, you'll get some bonuses upon sign up. With that said though, let's get right into the first section of today's video where we're going to be speaking about PSYK ETF's fact sheet as well as its holdings, fees associated with the fund, and all of that relevant information. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video topic, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel for more investing content in the near future. Alright, so as mentioned, the PSYK fund is a brand new ETF created and managed by Horizons Investments, which is actually the same asset management firm that has created the HXQ ETF, which is one of my all-time favorite NASDAQ 100 ETFs available in the Canadian market. I've been holding the HXQ ETF for multiple years now and always recommend it to new investors when they are first building out the core positions of their portfolios. The psychedelic ETF though is far from what I would call a core portfolio holding. Rather, I would only look at investing into this type of fund once you already have a solid portfolio built out with core positions such as a NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500 ETF, and then when and if you do want some diversified exposure to this new and disruptive facet of the medical industry being the psychedelic treatments. So yeah, let's gain some additional information on the PSYK ETF on Horizons website for some additional information, starting with the inception date. As we can see here, January 26, 2021. So this is a brand new fund that just hit the market around a week ago, and net assets under management are just below $14 million at the time of filming this video, making it a tiny fund in the scope of exchange traded funds, which can be in the multiple billions of dollars in assets under management. Now, this ETF is tracking the North American Psychedelic Index as its underlying benchmark, which happens to have been created by Solactive, which funny enough is also the company that created the indexes that the Wealthsimple socially responsible ETFs track. I just thought that would be an interesting bit of information to share, but PSYK is the world's first ETF focused exclusively on the growth and expansion of the psychedelic industry that tracks this new underlying index. Important to note, however, is that this fund does have an expense ratio that's on the higher end of what ETFs typically charge at 0.85%. Honestly, this is quite a bit higher than what I typically aim for in passively managed ETFs that track an underlying index, because at the end of the day, this isn't an active ETF like, say, the ARK ETFs, where there are quite literally fund managers analyzing companies and crafting strategies to create massive returns for investors of the fund. Regardless though, considering the size of the fund as of right now and the exposure that you're getting to 17 individual companies that each have a hand in the development and rolling out of these psychedelic treatments, this is a premium that I am willing to pay on the expense ratio as of right now, because at the end of the day, most of these companies are on the smaller cap side, and based on the products that they're developing are likely to produce well above average gains once they do actually get government approval and start rolling out their product mix into the market. Speaking of holdings though, let's take a look at the top 10 holdings in the PSYK ETF. So coming in first, we have Compass Pathways PLC ADR at a weight of 10.07% of this entire fund. Compass Pathways is a British company that currently has a market cap of 1.54 billion, and they develop psilocybin solutions for patients with treatment-resistant depression, and the company is still pre-revenue at this point. point. In fact, most of the companies that are held within this fund are still pre-revenue and are still in the research and development phase. For example, the second and third largest holdings in the fund are Numinous Wellness and Mind Medicine, both of which I've spoken about on the channel and expressed my positive outlook for the growth of these companies on a multi-year timeline moving forward. These are companies that I absolutely believe will do well over time as they further develop their product line, get the approvals from the government, and actually start tackling these massive industries that they are looking to have remedies for, like for example, the opioid industry, ADHD, anxiety. These are all massive industries that could really benefit from this type of alternative treatment. And really, the only reason why I had sold off my shares of MMED a couple of months back, which got quite a few viewers upset, was because the stock rallied over 500% in such a short time frame, which was a pump and dump fueled by fear of missing out pretty much exclusively. In no way did I expect this to happen when I had first bought into the company at around $1.30 per share. In fact, I had mentioned that I would want to hold on to the stock for multiple years, at which point I would have expected that type of return. But with all the euphoria and frenzy that I was seeing going down, I really saw the investor momentum shift from a longer term outlook to a shorter term outlook. And what I mean by this is short term gains, which is the clear number one sign of a bubble when investors go from a long term outlook to a short term outlook, looking to squeeze out gains in a short time frame. And so for this reason, as an investor, seeing my investment go up 500% in such a short time frame, there's really no other option in my view than to materialize some of those gains and then potentially get back in at a lower price point for a longer term hold. Now we can actually even dig a little bit further into the criteria necessary for a company to be eligible for this PSYK fund, and this includes $125,000 in daily average trading volume, a share price of 10 cents or above, and then a market capitalization of 25 million or above, all of which really aren't that difficult to accomplish, especially in the current market environment. Honestly though, I'm really happy to see this type of fund now available on the market, because prior to this psychedelic fund, investors who did want some exposure to this new industry had to go ahead and pick and choose which individual companies they wanted to include in their portfolio, instead of being able to select one single position for exposure to multiple different companies that operate on different verticals of the psychedelic space. If you've been around the channel for a while, then you would know that I'm a big fan of exchange traded fund, especially for the average retail investor, because they give you instant diversification to multiple different holdings, as well as a high level of passivity. This is a prime example of an industry that needed indexing to lower overall volatility and allow further exposure to multiple different companies in the space. In fact, even Kevin O'Leary mentioned that the psychedelic sector needed indexing because for institutional investors, it's simply too risky to just bet on one or say two of these early stage pre-revenue companies, and I would even argue that the same holds true for all retail investors. So yeah, this is definitely a huge step forward for the psychedelic industry. I'm really excited about this ETF in question, and I actually opened up a position on Monday at around $8.90 per share. And as of right now, I don't plan on selling off my position for years to come unless something fundamentally changes in this fund or the industry as a whole. And by the way, if you do want to gain some further insight and information about the scale of the opioid, depression, and anxiety industries that psychedelic treatments are being developed for, then make sure to check out this video that I'm overlaying right here, where yes, we do speak about Mind Medicine as a company itself, but we also speak for around 5-6 minutes about each one of these facets of the medical industry that psychedelics are looking to disrupt in the coming years. With that said, let's keep in mind though that an investment in this ETF is still, at least in my view, years out from wider market adoption in terms of the actual products, that are being developed in the psychedelic space. And so for this reason, I believe that a hold of minimum 3, 4, 5 years is going to be essential for capitalizing on some nice investment returns. In fact, this is the same strategy though that ARK Invest utilizes in their investment strategy, where they invest years out before they expect wider market adoption, at which point massive capital will be poured into these disruptive companies. That's pretty much it for today's video. I just wanted to quickly share some information and my thoughts on this new and exciting psychedelic ETF. And if you've been holding off on an investment in any of the individual companies for this industry, this might be a nice opportunity to capitalize on lower volatility for the space, diversification, and longer term growth. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to smash the like button. It really helps the channel out. And also subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified of new and upcoming investment content. Also make sure to check out the links down below to resources I use and recommend for new and intermediate investors. And on that note, thanks a lot for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one.